Hi, this is Mrs. Sutliff, and in this video, I'm going to give a more detailed explanation for how you can go from reading a book to teaching about that book. This video is for students who have already chosen their topic, have their resources, and have made a plan for their project. My first tip is to remember when you're researching and note-taking, you need to go slowly. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by trying to read too much of the book all at once. Remember to stop and jot as soon as your brain feels full of new information. Remember to choose the right graphic organizer for your note-taking. Use what works for you. Don't forget to include your reactions to what you're learning, as well as what you think about it. Check your finished brainstorm page to decide what to read next. I'm starting with the very first time, so I'm going to be reading about ecosystems. Make sure you are on the right page in your book. Go ahead and read the page one time through just to make sure you understand. What are the parts of ecosystems? What a system is. A system has parts. These parts work together to do a job. A system can have living and non-living parts. Every part of a system is important. The system will not work as well if any part is damaged or missing. A bicycle is a simple system. The frame, handlebars, and the rider all work together. Most ecosystems have inputs. They also have outputs. Outputs are things leaving the system. The activity of the rider is an output of a bicycle system. The dust from the tires is an output. Ecosystems. An ecosystem is all of the living and non-living things in an environment and the ways in which they interact. An ecosystem can be as large as a desert. It can be as small as a rotting cactus. The living things in an ecosystem are animals, plants, fungi, protists, and bacteria. The non-living things in an ecosystem are air, water, soil, sunlight, climate, and landforms. The living and non-living parts work together. Now that I've read the pages in the book, I can start thinking about what to write down in my notes. This is when you go back and reread. While rereading, I found these important details and I stopped to jot them down in my notebook. While you're rereading, you might find details that don't make sense or details that don't seem important. It's okay to leave these out. You can't write down the whole page after all. I decided to leave out the part about a bicycle and inputs and outputs because it didn't seem important and it really confused me when I was reading it the first time. You decide what the important details are. Just make sure that if you copy right from the book, you put it in quotation marks so that you do not get in trouble for plagiarism. Now it's time to stop and jot the main idea. You will get this from all of the details you've written down so far. You might also find a great sentence in the book that summarizes the whole main idea. It might be a good idea to consider the order you might write your details down in. In this case, my main idea is my first sentence, and then I numbered the rest of my details so that the order would make sense. While I was writing my paragraph, I thought of details that I wanted to add to make the writing my own. So instead of just saying ecosystems can be big or small, I wrote about how they can be as big as a forest or as small as a pond. Here is the page in my notebook where I forgot to write down the main idea. I'm so glad that I decided to skip every other line in my notebook so I could go back and put it in. Also notice I was thinking about a picture that I might want to include with this slide. When I was all finished writing, I had the chance to go explore with some of the materials in the classroom. I found some cards I could use to make a food web, and then I went back into my writing and added the detail so that when I was talking about my food web, I could show a picture of it and then I'd be reading about it. You might have other revisions like this while you're working on your project. It's really important to think about the order you want to use for your information. I realized that I didn't really have a good introduction plan for my topic. I grabbed another note card and made myself a box and bullets so that I could plan my introduction. This is what good writers do. Once you're finished writing, it's time to start thinking about the pictures you'd like to include with your project. The books you've been reading will make great opportunities for pictures, but you can also search for pictures right inside Adobe Voice. When you're working in Adobe Voice, keep in mind that each page in your notebook should have its own slide, and each slide should have some sort of nonfiction text feature. This might include some bold-faced words, headings, maybe a picture, and don't forget your glossary. Now, keep in mind the iPad can take pictures that you can put into your presentation, so that means that you could do your own pictures instead of just searching for pictures within the program. Be creative. I hope you get the chance to experiment with some of the materials in the classroom. If your writing is ready, let your teacher know, and she might decide to give you a chance with the materials. This will also be included in your report, so make sure to take good notes on the experiment that you do. Don't worry if you made a mistake with your organization. You can always change the order of the slides in Adobe Voice so that the order makes more sense. Well, that's all the tips I have for you. Good luck, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Good luck.